Hello, welcome. Thank you. So today's talk is about the power and movement of thought. And I wanted to bring this to you. It was an experience that I had, and I wanted to share it because we talk about the power of thought. And I'm not sure, I know for myself, not sure that I always understand how powerful my thinking is and how powerful my thoughts are and the energy that my thoughts carry. So, how it started, how I got inspired with this talk, and I've got my cheat sheets here. How I got inspired was I was doing an exercise for a poetry class that I'm part of, and the facilitator asked us to write haikus in the morning. And we're in our alpha state and our waking state. And the idea of the haiku is to be succinct, to really put into few words what we're noticing and what we want to express. So, a beautiful, beautiful practice in presence, really focusing and spending time on these moments. So I've been doing this for about a week, and I still do. I have the haikus, my little notepad by my bedside because I just adore the practice. And just for an example, it could be the morning light, the birds, perhaps an owl. So different things that we're noticing in the morning. So later that day, I was having lunch and I noticed my state of being stressful, not super stressed, though this sort of underlying feeling of stress. So lots of big decisions on my plate. Spring cleanup, we had just this most incredible harsh winter. So that was a lot of cleaning up and still cleaning up and repairing from the winter, and then just all these things that were on my plate. So it was just feeling that. No, it wasn't really a big thing, though. Just noticing that. And then I was having lunch and I had this phone call, and immediately I went into this place of creativity, inspiration, joy, excitement. And it was so, oh, I'm not sure, profound. It was so clear, so distinct. It was like I was in this mode or mood and in those thoughts. And I clearly stepped into this creativity and inspiration. And yet, nothing changed in these few moments. My fridge contents were the same. My bank account was the same. The weather hadn't changed. All this in just a moment, which really, really struck me. How powerful a thought is. And yeah, so, and I have a daily practice, just so you know, and I want to share some of these things with you. And I want to share some ideas and give you some inspiration and some experiences in this talk that I'm doing in the sharing. So hopefully you gain some value from it. So take a moment right now. Just take a moment. And if it feels okay and it's safe, take a moment just to close your eyes and take some breaths and just notice. Notice where you're at. Okay, just breathing. And noticing your body, and I'm going to take you through a few little experiences, so some memories. So think of a memory that brings you joy. So something where you're happy, maybe It's a holiday, perhaps it's a hobby, some inspiration that you've had, perhaps your gratitude practice, maybe a favorite song or a fabulous meal or something really delicious. So just taking a moment right now and breathing that in. So just really noticing, just breathing it in, and take a moment to notice your body. Just take a moment to notice your body. So I'm doing this with you. I'm thinking about the amazing peonies that are growing in my gardens right now. Okay. So noticing your body. And so what we're going to do is just gently just brush it off. So we're just going to go into another thought pattern. So, and we're contrasting. And just so you know, we're going to go back into the nice, happier memories. So just think of a time, perhaps maybe you were angry, perhaps a time, maybe it's grief, perhaps it's some kind of catastrophe or something that feels unpleasant to you. So again, just noticing the memory, noticing who was around you at that time, what time of life was that. And again, notice your body, right? Notice your body. So I've done this exercise in a few areas in my workshops and my webinars. And yeah, so I've done it longer. But for today, I just want to give you the experience of the energy of thought and the power of thought. So this, and also the movement of it as well. So that's very, very important. So just taking a deep breath, notice your body, and then now brush it off. So brushing off this unpleasantness. Okay. So just brush it off. And this is a great practice, by the way, just to do generally in your life. So I'll talk a little bit about that. First, let's go back to the pleasant. So if you want to call in that memory that you had before, just bring that in and bring in that pleasantness and the joy that you had from the memory before, and just kind of feel that in your body. Okay. And so it's an exercise you can do just as awareness. So as you walk down the street or maybe go grocery shopping, or when you're with somebody and you're listening to their language. And I think all of us have either done it ourselves. I know I have, and I really work at not doing this. And maybe you've heard somebody with this language. Oh, my life is so chaotic. Why would it ever be different? Why? I'm just late all the time. It's just things are always happening. I'm so unlucky. Things are always going wrong. That's life. It's just chaos. That's my luck. I'm never lucky. Whatever the language is, I can hardly act it. So knowing this or feeling it when somebody's doing that is they're putting out this energy, and of course that energy is coming back. So if we're hearing that language, especially if I'm hearing that language, it just contracts me, and I want to protect myself from it and let them have that experience. Now this is different than experiencing emotions and feelings that we have as humans. So yes, life is chaotic. We're spinning through space, 60,000 miles an hour, and we have gravity. So we're not really in control of a lot of the chaos that we have. Okay. So when things happen, yes, feel them, and we don't need to stay there. So if you're frustrated, something happens, perhaps even grief. And grief is also, it's a process. So what we need to do, what's healthy to do, is let that move. So if you can imagine a sky, that your mind is like a sky, and that clouds are the thoughts, and they're moving. And as we had that little exercise with the memories, those were memories. So knowing when we've had this time on this planet that feelings and thoughts move, they move. So let them move. Okay, just let them move. Feel them, acknowledge them, and let them move. So emotion, and maybe you've heard this, is energy in motion. So letting it move, not staying in it. So what happens is when we stay in these unpleasant memories is, or thoughts, feelings, we're blocking our creativity, our core. And right now I'm holding my belly down here below. And we all have it. We were born with it. We're born a beautiful, perfect slate. And we have love and creativity in our core. It's who we are. Though what happens is distractions and situations and life and all these things distract us. And some of it is debris, I think, from having us access our creativity and our love. And we all want to be happy. We all are creative. We all want to feel love. And it's interesting to me that, you know, if someone were to ask you in the morning, do you want to suffer today? Like, what would you say? Of course not. They'd ask you the next day, do you want to suffer today? We're going to say no. We all want love. We all want to feel happiness. It's who we are. We're walking, living miracles on a miracle every single moment. So how do we get there? How do we live in this space? So do you ever notice that when perhaps you bought a new to you car, or maybe a family member has a new vehicle, you start seeing that same vehicle everywhere. You're just going, what, everybody has that? Or perhaps maybe you were pregnant, or your partner, or a good friend that was pregnant, and you're around them a lot. It's like, wait a minute, is everybody producing babies? What happens is our brain that is an organ, will focus on what's familiar. We have 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Most of them are repetitive. Now, wouldn't it be a cool idea if we controlled and taught our brain the things we want to think about? And we can do that. So our brain is an organ, and it needs repetition, and it needs practice. So ever since the brain was formed, it started gathering data. Okay, and it is running the whole system. And its primary purpose is to run this system right here, to keep you alive. Okay, that's its process. And millions and millions and billions of happenings and control all the time in the other than conscious mind. So your brain never shuts off. So when we meditate, yes, we can slow down, but we do not shut down our thoughts. We slow them. Okay. And we can also train our brain. So what the brain has been doing with this data is what? So it's been learning, creating memories. It helps us respond and also react. So if it's a hot stove or a flame, right? And we learn things. It also collects belief systems and memories. Okay. And this data, language, and thoughts. So these thoughts, they're not you. And actually, I have a YouTube out. If you want to look it up, is it's called "You Are Not Your Brain." It's one of my earlier ones, and I talk about that. You are not your brain. Okay, so think about what you want to put into your brain. If you can think of your brain as this container, what do you want to put in there? And people have said, it's really important to stand guard at your brain, to watch what goes into your brain because it affects you. It affects your physiology, it affects who you are. And you noticed that earlier is, when we're uptight or stressed, our bodies just seize up and clam up. And here's another little stat. So 5 minutes of anger will deplete your immune system by 5 hours. That's actually a scientific study. And I can put some of these links at the bottom if you want to check them out. So again, what do you want to put in your brain? What do you want to put in this container? Do you want to put in thoughts, happy thoughts? Do you want to put in positivity and creativity, inspiration, imagination, and beauty and art? Do you want to put in fear-mongering news? And not all news, well, some of it is very repetitive, and we can go there, but do you want to put in violence in movies or poor language? So think about what you want to put into your brain. So really be conscious about it. And if you go to the gym once, you're not going to have a toned body. And the brain's the same. Just because you do this once or for, once here, once there, the brain needs reps, so repetitions, and it needs practice. So think about that. There's nothing wrong with you to practice, to do these reps over and over again and practice. I'm just checking my notes. So it's really important to be the watcher. And I just want to show you another little illustration. So here I am, and you can do this with yourself. And I've done talks on this. And then our environment. So I'm looking at my studio on these objects that are there. And then here are my glasses. And I actually have fun glasses. They're not right here. Another talk, I'll bring them out. So look at glasses as a perspective. And oh my gosh, I feel like I want to go get them because they're fun. Okay, just give me 1 minute. They're right here. I'd forgotten about it. And I'm not so good at cutting and pasting on recordings. So here's the screen. Here I am, another perspective. And there's more to this illustration than just our perspective. Maybe some of you can get it, right? And of course, and I have a whole basket. I'm not going to go through them all. Okay. So here's the interesting thing is all those all those have a perspective. However, you probably responded to them. Okay. So when we have a perspective, so we're also looking through that lens, and people are also seeing us through our perspective. That's how powerful thought is. And maybe some of you watching this, you may want to experiment and I always use the grocery store because many of us go to the store. And the cashiers, it's hard. They have a hard job because they're dealing with so many different personalities and all day long. And just you can be mindful and watch them, and I've done that, and you can go up there and just smile and, bless them and thank them and just watch the transformation. And perhaps there's that cashier that is already just shining like a bright light. And notice how people respond to her. And you can play with this in so many different ways. And I had a great conversation with a woman last night, and we were talking about traveling and our perspective. And by relaxing and going with the flow, how much easier travel becomes. So I want to give you a couple of things for your brain. And maybe you've heard of this parable, and it kind of illustrates the perspective. So there's this vendor outside a village, and a traveler comes up and said, "Excuse me, I've just come from a village and I'm thinking about moving to this village. Can you tell me something about it?" And the vendor said, "Wow, tell me about what it was like at where you were leaving." And the traveler said, "Oh my goodness, people were lying. You just had to look over your shoulder all the time. People would steal from you, and there was fights and dramas and just constant." And the vendor said, "It's going to be the same in this village." So the traveler just went somewhere else on his way. So a little later in the day, another traveler came and talked to the vendor and said, "Could you tell me a little bit about this village? I'm thinking of moving there. I'm just not sure." And the vendor said, "What was it like from where you came?" "Oh my goodness, we have such a great community there. And it's not that I really wanted to leave there. It's just that I'm trying to expand my horizons and grow my creativity. And I plan to go back. We all work together, we get along." And the vendor said, "It'll be the same here. There, it's a great village." So the traveler, of course, goes. And I think you understand the parable. It's our perspective, it's how we are in the world. Here's another little exercise that you can give yourself. And I've done this with clients. And when a situation comes up, sometimes we call it a problem. And that's not a bad thing. However, can we look at it as an opportunity? Can we look at it as, what can I learn here? What's my lesson here? How am I growing as a person with this opportunity and this challenge? And is there any immediate advantages right now in this situation? And how is this going to help me in the future? As soon as we do that, and I've seen clients, as soon as you take the situation and turn it into something creative, and it also starts moving because we're growing and developing from it, it changes our whole physiology. And I've seen it actually happen when I've presented it to somebody right in front of my eyes. They change, their whole face changed. They're just going, "Wow, yeah, oh, okay." And we can train our brains to think in that way. It changes, it shifts things so quickly. So if you want a healthy brain, and it goes along with drinking lots of water, getting good rest, and eating well. However, it is about noticing your energy and situations. It's about practicing and working out your brain. So giving it repetition and practice in the thoughts that you want. Did you know when your brain is healthy, it produces 30,000 substances that naturally heal your body? It's a miracle. It's amazing. Our brain has that capability. So it's really important to clear the debris so that you can access your creativity and your love. And why is that so important? So, what you focus on, you'll experience. And as life just happens, you're going to be better equipped to access your creativity and come up with solutions and opportunities. And in the meantime, you'll be happier. So, thank you so much for listening. So, my name is Elke Scholz. I've written 3 books. I'm a therapist. I am happy to do one-on-one sessions, Zoom or in person. And my books and the webinar, and I also did an audio series. So I will put those links at the bottom. And so happy that you've been listening and joining me. And I really hope that you got something today. So thank you so much. Take care and have a beautiful, awesome, miraculous rest of the day.